And I think it's because I grew up with a cop. I mean, like my dad and my brothers.
When you are a cop, you don't watch cop shows. You don't do all that stuff because you do it every day.
No, it's a lot.
All right, we are
my
live
dad did watch
streaming.
Matlock.
We are live
All right.
streaming recording now.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at this, our September public safety meeting, committee meeting. Trying to pull up my agenda now so we can just quickly walk through exactly what we're going to go through tonight. My apologies. My laptop is slow. Let's go to send. All right, it's not opening for me. Patrick, would you mind walking us through the agenda?
Absolutely.
Thank
So the first item is Office of Emergency Management update from Committeeman DeLuca, so we can skip that. He also has the next one, SEFD. All right, so let's do Chief of Police report narrative from Chief Sally.
Okay, so we're doing the monthly or the monthly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so
and I can't open any of those things, unfortunately. I usually put them on the screen.
Yeah, I can.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, no trouble at all. Okay, so. And I think Debbie had emailed those around, right, Chief?
yes.
Did she send around August numbers yet?
No.
All right, so we're looking at
We're
July.
always up on.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're looking at July. All right. All right.
Okay,
All right,
were
here
you
we
able to get it? Because okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, all right, here you go. You can see it now.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll start at this page. All right, so we'll go to the robberies. 2023 in July, we had 2 robberies. One was on Franklin Avenue. Lady was in the car. 2 juveniles approached. She screamed out, boyfriend came out, and they ran off before anything further can happen. Detectives are still investigating that. We don't really have any leads in that robbery. The next robbery is on Maplewood Avenue, where it was resident was robbed at gunpoint by 2 unknown juveniles. That's the one when the one kid ran off with the Crocs, was wearing Crocs shoes. Detectives are still investigating that. So those are the 2 outstanding robberies we have for July. If you just scroll back up a little bit to the chart. Okay, so if you look year to date, 2022 to year to date, 2023, robberies, we had 13 at this point last year. We're at 7 this year, so we're down 46% in robberies. And then if you go to aggravated assaults, we are up. It was 4 in 2022, 10 in 2023. Burglaries are up slightly. The reason for that is because we have a suspect that we arrested several times. He's a juvenile, and he gets released, and he comes back out and commits the same type of crimes. Even when we fingerprinted him, we found out that he did a few robberies last year that we ended up charging him with. So it might be there's a mental component with this subject. We're trying to get the necessary help for him and his family, but a few of those burglaries are from one person. Thefts are down. If you look 2022 in July, we had 32, 2023, 26, year, 127, 117, 2023, slight decline. Auto thefts are down almost 50% from last year. So that's real good. And so that's for this page. If you can go to the next page, please. Okay, so burglaries, actually, that number is wrong. It shouldn't be 4 burglaries for July. It should be 3. One, the Houseman Court burglary was not is really not a burglary. It's more of a landlord-tenant dispute through investigation. The first one on Van Ness Court, we do have latent fingerprints out. We're still waiting response from the state police, so hopefully we can identify a suspect in that one. Springfield Avenue, same thing. Latent prints are out. Still waiting for the state police. Boyan Avenue, the pool, we did make an arrest in that. So we do have an adult arrest. We have a clear for that one. It was more than one. I think the next one will be on the August report, but it's the same person, and we have an arrest for that too, as well. So out of the 3 burglaries, we have 1 arrest, and then the 2, hopefully we'll be able to get a suspect through the latent prints that we located. So that's where we're at with the burglaries. And again, auto thefts, again, it's unsecured. You can scroll down just a little bit. We had 3 unsecured keys inside. But again, you know, we are down significantly in that category. I'm just gonna move. I have a up to date though UCR report is not on here. Up to August. So this is up to August 31st, which I have. Again, robberies are down 58%. Assaults are up 6%. Assaults, we had 49 assaults in 49 assaults this year. 48 have been cleared. A lot of them are domestic violence incidents, so that's why we're able to clear them, because it's known to the victim. Burglaries again are up slightly year to date, and larceny and motor vehicle thefts are down. So that's the crime report. Any questions?
Chief, no, I was just actually one thing. I know that you noticed that the auto thefts are down and everything, and I remember that there were flyers that we had put at like the 7-Eleven, and I remember seeing one in the door of the Wawa, encouraging folks to not leave their car running. Are we going to put those back out again?
Yes.
Awesome.
And then also when the holidays come around, we do a whole order where we do a whole bunch of things to prevent auto thefts and thefts from vehicles and thefts of packages and everything.
Yeah.
I do think okay. I do think the officer at the Wawa is helping out a lot. You know, what I'm finding out, or what I found out from the officer, that they might not report things that are happening because they're taking care of it right there and there, right there. There might be a lot of potential shoplifting happening that's not reported because the officer is able to take care of it on the scene.
Well, that's good. I mean, preventing crime is as important as enforcing the law. So I think that's fabulous. Especially if folks are taking them as crimes of opportunity.
Yes.
And maybe we're intending to actually come in there with the intent to steal.
And then also
being a little lenient is good.
And then also the robberies we had in the beginning of the year, our detectives were good at identifying and making those arrests, and come to find out that some of those crews were doing multiple robberies. So once we made those arrests, that kind of cleared up some of that stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, are there any other questions? I don't know if we have any folks from the public. I don't think so, Patrick, do we?
We have no folks from the public here today.
Okay. So we can
move on. Or discussion items.
Any discussion items? Actually, the August report and the to date that Committeeman DeLuca was going to give to us, he actually submitted. He sent it to us earlier. I don't know if we want to walk through that or just wait for him.
Yeah, well, whichever you prefer.
We can wait then.
All right.
But So this, because a couple of these things actually are questions I wanted to ask Chief Sally in regards to the discussion items.
Sure.
I had a few emails from folks, and I know with reading your report, as well as some of the things reported in the local news, could you give us some more like information, at least what you can share with us in regards to how a high-speed chase actually happened in Maplewood?
Specifically, that one,
Yeah,
that's,
how did it happen?
yeah, the only thing is Milburn's chase. I would have them report on that. I don't want to report on another jurisdiction's investigation and chase, but I will say that the Attorney General guidelines, there was a revision allowing agencies to pursue stolen vehicles. However, Maplewood has more restriction on that in our SOP, that we do not pursue stolen vehicles. So it might have been allowed for them to do that, even though we don't allow it in Maplewood. So, and I don't know the extent of the circumstances of why they pursued that vehicle. We were just there for assistance regarding the accidents. And also we assisted in apprehending the suspect who was in the stolen vehicle after a foot chase took place. So that was our action in it. But I don't want to report on another jurisdiction's investigation, or if the prosecutor's office is involved in it and investigating. So that's where I'm at with.
All right, thank you. Accidentally, the next thing was put as a colon onto the high-speed chase, but really it was just could you report back if you've had any information shared from the crossing guards or your officers about how the commute in school is going, in particular the hazardous school zone areas? How are things progressing out there? With the kids now going back.
Yeah, so the first, the first couple of weeks, it takes some time for us to get it, everything together, because the school times have changed since last year. And then so we have plenty of crossing guards, and our officers also cross kids. And then if a crossing guard does not show up or calls out, our officers fill those positions. So we took the study from the Board of Education, and that's where our crossing guards go. But also we have extra guards in areas where that might not be in the report. So let's say it's not recommended by or they might not say this corner needs to be with a guard, but there are corners that we have guards that are not, in that report. So we do have extra guards in areas. I spoke to my day shift lieutenant who pretty much coordinates everything, and we're still getting feedback from the officers that are out there to see when the bulk of children are crossing. So we make sure that if we have to make an adjustment to get the bulk of the kids that are crossing, for example, up on Wyoming Avenue, we do not have a fixed crossing guard up there. We have what we call a roving crossing guard. They're in a crossing guard police vehicle. They go up and down our border from Milburn to South Orange on Wyoming Avenue. And then when they see a group of kids at the corner, they stop, get out the vehicle, and then cross them. So at some years, it's, it might be this corner, it might be the heavy corner crossing. Some years it might be the next corner. So it's just us identifying what is the heavy corner and where most kids are going to cross and what time, that we have that roving guard there at that time. So those are the kinds of adjustments we're making. Ridgewood Road has a roving guard, but also we have fixed posts there as well. So we have fixed guards on certain locations, but also there's also a roving on Ridgewood. So that's where, because Wyoming, it's a few streets that go up towards the reservation where kids might walk down, but it's a few. So that's why we don't have fixed there, but we do have the roving to cross them when they're coming down. And sometimes, the parents might have to just be patient until the roving comes back around to cross them. But if we know the times, we can get them there at that time and then, cross them.
That sounds great. Thank you. Because I don't have one in school anymore. So I don't know all that's going on. And I appreciate the extra effort, particularly that roving. I didn't even realize that was happening. So Wonderful. Glad that there's additional folks kind of on the fly, keep an eye on the kids.
Right.
Thank you. We started discussing the next discussion item in our regular township meeting in regards to making an ordinance change to the public park hours, in particular to address some of the concerns residents are having around noise and the usage around the basketball courts. Two pieces of concern I've gotten back from folks. Yes, folks are still getting used to the kids and their volume while playing games and such out there. But also the fact that there are in that teenage population that utilizes that park as much as they do, that by cutting the hours back, we might be actually putting those kids in a position where they don't have a safe place to go during after school hours, besides going home. And of course, yes, go home, but
Right.
these are teenagers, they're not going to go home. But having that out there. So my concern is for the students out there, if we're putting additional constraints on the parks to make it match all around the community, how is it going to be enforced? So that would be my question to you, Chief. What are some of what are some of your concerns and things that might be, yeah.
Are you talking about specific, like, are you talking about D-Hart Park or, I know they have
Basically basketball courts in general, D-Hart as well as Memorial Park. That's where the kids hang. And if we're going to keep those closed, are we going to do it uniformly across the board? Because there are lights at Memorial where there aren't at DeHart.
Yeah. I those parks with the basketball haven't really been a police problem. I think it's more the noise and things, but it hasn't been like, we're getting called there for, criminal activity or anything like that. There's just kids playing basketball. I don't know. Me personally, I like the parks that are open at that time later, so the kids have somewhere to go. But I do understand the noise complaints. But I don't want to get into the thing where the police are coming over there and kicking them out, and we're trying to build that bond and that relationship with those kids.
Exactly, and that's actually what I wanted to actually say aloud, that it really isn't a concern, as from what you're reporting, Chief, that you haven't gotten any calls or feedback from your officers that there is a criminal concern for the park. It did seem like that was what was brought up at the
they pretty much police themselves. They police themselves. It's like the skate park. Those kids are out there. With a shovel, and they shovel the snow off the skate park so they can skate. And we rarely get called over there. If anything. I think the same. It was almost the same thing with the basketball courts.
Mayor.
Thank you for bringing this up. I'm so glad you brought this up. So Chief, in case you're not aware, this is going to be, we discussed this at the Township Committee last time. We didn't take any action. We did hear back from, it was pretty one-sided. We heard from a couple of residents, not a lot, I would say, just a couple of residents about this. They were against the court staying open past sundown. Since then, in social media, we've heard from a lot of more residents who have the concerns that Chairwoman Kripe just expressed, right? So we're going to be talking about it again on Tuesday night. And I think it would mean a lot if we can get something from you to the Township Committee. Of course, we'll both report what happened in public safety, and this is a public meeting. But if we could have something from you saying that, as far as you're concerned, you're not making a policy decision, but as far as you're concerned, you're not receiving an uptick in incidents or police activity or a lot of complaints. You're not getting a lot of non-emergency complaints from residents around the park.
Yeah, so I'm not hearing anything, but I will run the numbers just to make sure that it's not what I'm it's just that I didn't hear about it, but I'll make sure I run the numbers in those locations to see, but I don't think there's a lot there.
Thank you. And then I think also with some of the things I'm looking at as far as suggestions for signage later on for the engineering department, if we're going to be putting up notices letting folks know these are the hours, then we also could, as a courtesy, let folks know, hey, there's neighbors. Try to keep the volume down after certain hours, or just in general, if you can keep the volume down. Ways of just making those suggestions without being in the face of these children, because they're not. Number one, they're kids. They're excited. They're enjoying themselves. They're hanging with their friends. They're winning the game. I mean, there's reasons why they're making all these noises. So folks have to chill out and understand that these are kids. But at the same time, the kids who are old enough to kind of realize, hey, we've hit that volume point. Let's take it down a notch. So a bit of both would be my suggestion. And I wish Engineer Kittner was here, but that's something I guess I can email at another time and see if there's a way of getting additional signage for those parks, particularly since we're now going to be making those changes to the ordinance to enforce the times across the board to all the parks.
Right.
All right. Sorry, I got the new iPad. I'm still learning how to use this thing. I don't know if the mayor has received these, but I started getting messages earlier in the month from our Jewish community in preparation for the high holy days that are coming up, Rosh Hashanah in particular, with the uptick in just general violence and just hate, anti-Semitism coming across the board. There is a concern from our Jewish community about these days coming up, and if there is in the place a plan to maybe have additional patrols, or I know a lot of the temple, the synagogues and temples hire off-duty officers to be present on when they're having special masses in particular. And I'm using the wrong term. I said mass. Special services. If there's anything in addition that we can do as a township to support this community, I would love to be able to do that. I don't know if that's a plan already in place, or if that's something that's come across your desk, Chief Sally, but I would love to suggest that that happen.
Yeah, so we're always in communication with especially the synagogue on Parker Avenue.
Mhm.
Actually, me and Sergeant Reeves did a walkthrough last year there. I can't think of the rabbi's name. Maybe Mayor no, but every time we do have communication with the rabbis, and then we coordinate. He hires his own security, but we also do checks, and we'll spend time. And he wants the presence. We'll park a car in front of his. We'll do constant checks, and whatever he needs. We're there. So we'll call him, and whatever he needs from us.
Is there a presence over by the little one that's near my house between
Yes.
it's on Boyden?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I know they tend to not, they're fairly insular.
Yeah, they are.
kind of
They
keep
are.
to
But we
themselves,
do give the same amount of attention, even though we,
Okay.
right.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Finally, we are looking at trying to move. We're at Tuesday's meeting. More than likely, we're going to be having the ordinance to actually limit the parking on Marion Terrace to one side of the road. However, that neighborhood already has a struggle finding enough parking for themselves. It's a lot of rentals and a lot of folks with multiple cars per household. So one of the things that we're considering was having permits issued for them to utilize the back end of DeHart Park's parking, the bit that's near the basketball courts, actually. I put it on this just basically to offer a discussion for folks who may have concerns about it, as well as offering any suggestions of ways in which we can make it move quickly. So Mayor, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to this, and I don't know if Mr. DeLuca made it on. I thought for a second I saw him because he kind of spearheaded the Marion Terrace stuff. Nope.
Not on.
Okay. Not here, not speaking. All right. We are still waiting for Committeeman DeLuca, but I do believe that since we're getting down to the end of the meeting, it might not be a bad idea for us to just read the report.
Yeah,
on
and
his
I
behalf.
can share what he sent to us as well.
Okay,
So let me do that. All right. So this week next week, Thursday, he and I are attending a county OEM coordinators meeting. So it'll be good, and that'll be my first experience with the county OEM, which is good. And then he has a couple FEMA projects that are open that we're entitled to, and he's been working with engineering to make sure that we get all the funds expended and submitted for reimbursement. SEFD, we had our SEFD meeting yesterday, our monthly meeting. I'll read through the August numbers. Total incidents last month, 455. There were 143 EMS direct, 52 EMS mutual aid, and 3 building fires. In the meeting yesterday, the chief had commended his staff on the fires, especially the one that was on South Pearson. And he had held that up as an example of the importance of Maplewood and South Orange merging their fire departments. The chief discussed the number of and a number of companies that we got there right away without having to call for additional backup, because all those responses are made at the same time. So he credited the merger with a lot of the success that we had with that incident, and he also thanked a lot of the surrounding agencies who provided mutual aid, not just at the fire, but also covering our firehouses. When they rolled up on the fire, the home was fully engulfed. It was, it was a very serious fire, and they'd also given thanks to the police department who identified that. They were just out on routine patrol when they observed the house in flames. So it was, good that they saw when they did, but an unfortunate outcome for the home. In October, there are 8 firefighters going to EMS training. They have 5 weeks of training so that they can serve on our emergency medical response. And there are currently there's one firefighter vacancy current and 1 firefighter vacancy that we expect in the next few months. So we are looking at options for filling those positions. And that is his report.
great. Are there any questions? Looks like a no. So we will open it up to public comment, and it doesn't seem to be any public here. Did anyone submit anything to you or anyone via email, text, whatever? I did not receive anything.
No, I've not received anything.
I have
All
neither.
right. All right. Chief, since you had mentioned that this is something as far as the high-speed chase going is being taken care of by Milburn, I'm assuming also they're following up with the Essex County. Again, things I'm reading. The prosecutor's office is supposed to be doing an investigation on that. So I don't think we need to go into an executive session to discuss that since it's going to be coming from them.
Yeah, I really don't have a lot of information from Milburn. So
all right. So yeah, there's nothing to share there. Unless there is any information, any discussion items that anyone else wants to bring up, I say we adjourn. We're done.
There is one member of the public that just joined, it looks
Oh,
like,
excellent.
by telephone. We can give them the opportunity to ask a question or make a remark if they wish.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see. I know that Committeeman DeLuca had said he would likely be joining by phone. So let me see if that's his number.
Doesn't look like his number, but
It is his number.
there you
All right, let me promote him to panelist. I can't, but I can allow him to talk. All right. He's coming over.
Hey, can you hear me?
We
We hear
can.
you. Yep.
Okay. So I don't want to prolong the meeting because you're adjourning, but I did have something I wanted to raise for the chief. A number of towns, particularly down the shore, are passing ordinances around these electric bikes and scooters and stuff. Are we seeing that as a problem here? I just almost hit somebody on Springfield Avenue going the wrong way on a scooter. Are you seeing this, Chief, as a problem?
Yeah, it's a potential problem. I think we had an accident on Chancellor Avenue. I don't have the report in front of me, but I think it was involving a moped or some type of electric bike like that.
Should we look at some of these ordinances to see if there's anything that's applicable here?
Definitely.
All right, I'll take responsibility to dig some of these up.
All right.
Yeah, because on Spring, we see, just me driving around, I see them. And it could create accidents and hazards and everything else.
Okay. So we'll look into the, would it be an ordinance we'd have to create or is it something
Yes.
we already have?
Yeah,
that
we'd have to.
Oh.
No, we'd have to pass an ordinance.
All right. Well, thank you for taking point on that, Committeeman DeLuca. Anything else?
Not for me. You got all the stuff I sent you earlier, right?
We did, and Patrick
Statistics
just
and
did your
stuff.
report. No, sir, Mr. Weir just did your report. All right, if there are no other concerns or anything for discussion, I move that we adjourn until our next meeting on October the 11th.
That is the one thing we wanted to talk about.
Oh, November's.
November. So the November meeting is conflicts with the TC meeting. The TC meeting is pushed to a Wednesday because of Election Day. So the easiest day, I'm not sure what everybody's availability is, but maybe the following day, the Thursday, which would be the 9th.
Let's see.
Yeah, it runs into another meeting, but it's a smaller committee I can get out of. I can probably pass my responsibility on to someone else and just make my report early. But I could do the 9th if that works for everyone else.
I'm available on the 9th as well.
I'm available on the 9th.
All right. So we will notice a meeting on the 9th. And I know CBOP likes to attend, so I will let them know the change they had asked.
All right.
All righty.
Before we go, I don't know, I hate to do this to you, but we didn't go over to overtime. The overtime.
Did we have that from Deb?
Should have it.
Yes, we got it.
Let me see if I can pull it up on my.
Yeah, I have it. Hold on here.
Okay.
Night email.
Thank you, Ms. Weary.
Yeah. So
Great.
let's see here. Overtime.
It won't be on this
No, it's a different document.
form.
All right. Hold on then. Go to Deb's email. All right, here we are. All right.
Okay. All right. So this is the overtime from this year. I think it will it will get better. We did hire 2 new officers that are count as manpower. Our weakest, well, I shouldn't say that, but what we're having is so we had shortages in some of our shifts. We just recently had a retirement. A lot of our officers who were out for extended amount of time are back. Right now, we only have 2 officers that are out for extended period of time. Before we had 1, 2, 3. We had about 7 or 8. They're all back. Our promotions, they're now in their positions. We just have one sergeant that has to get certified in 911 so he can work the desk. So that will save us overtime on our watch commanders and our 911 dispatch overtime, which they count as. So we have a full staff of supervisors now, and with the new hires and with these officers back, and us with the addition of our patrol captain, who's able to monitor our deficiencies in the schedule, and also to follow up on any sick patterns that we might have. So this overtime was covering empty shifts, vacation days that we had to fill, and any festivals or 4th of July and those types of incidents.
So you predict the numbers will zero out?
Yeah, I
in the
think they're
next
gonna,
month or two?
yeah, they'll start to level out because we're able to fill a lot of those spots.
Great.
Chief.
Yes.
I heard some scuttlebutt that there seems to be on a more often basis than we would like call outs on shift 3, the overnight. That's forcing the shift 2 people to stay longer. Is that correct?
The shift 3. Yes, but it's I don't think it's just that. I think it's also we had a few officers off out for extended period of time from shift 1, but they're back. Also, any patterns or anything, we are addressing it.
Okay.
Also,
Is Captain
yes,
Lawson the patrol captain?
yes, he is. Yes, he is. I mean, I could talk more about it offline.
Okay, is there
I don't-
anything
I don't
else or
think
any other questions? Committeeman DeLuca, it kind of fluctuated your audio. What were you saying?
No, I'm good. I'm good. We're not going into executive session, right?
No, unless you want to have that conversation about.
No, I thought there was something that was listed for executives.
We did, but
Closed
because
session.
of the chief's report
Okay.
earlier, it's something he can't report on.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything additional? Mayor, did you want to add anything?
No, other than that, the topic relating pursuits and chases has also come up at CBOP. And the deputy chief is preparing a report for CBOP that basically shows what our policy is and what pursuits we've had in Maplewood and how we classify them. A pursuit is not a chase, and a chase is not a pursuit. More on that when that report comes out.
Thank you. All right. Well, if there's nothing additional to add, we will adjourn and reconvene our next public committee service committee meeting on October the 11th. Thank you all for being here. and for your support. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.